Next news. Breaking news.
If you thought this was just another fraud bust, think again. What happened in Ohio is bigger than handcuffs, bigger than seized luxury cars, and bigger than the more than $50 million already tied to these cases. The Trump administration is sending a message that should terrify every parasite feeding off taxpayers, Medicaid patients, and even children. The free ride is over. This is not just about catching crooks after the money disappears. It looks a lot more like the opening move in a nationwide anti-fraud machine. And once you see the pieces they rolled out today, one question becomes impossible to ignore. I'm going to tell you why this matters to every single American who's watching right now. According to the Attorney General Todd Blanche, currently acting, soon to be full-fledged, Ohio alone is seeing charges against 14 defendants connected to fraud schemes targeting more than $50 million in taxpayer money. Medicare fraud, pandemic relief fraud, romance fraud, Medicaid fraud. And Blanche made the most important point of the day when he said these numbers are just the tip of the iceberg. That means what has been uncovered may be tiny compared to what is still buried inside bloated government systems. FBI Director Kash Patel drove the outrage home, saying tens of millions intended for kids were allegedly stolen by people in government and the private sector who thought they could fleece Americans, the Treasury, and our children. Well, under President Trump, they got caught, and Ohio's Attorney General said the quiet part out loud. In 16 years of Medicaid investigations, he's never seen this level of federal interest and support from any administration. Not Obama, not when Biden was president. Trump and J.D. Vance are treating fraud like an attack on the country itself. And while we're talking about waste and theft and bureaucratic games, this next part hits home for millions of families. Now pay attention to this, because if you or someone in your family is on Medicare, this directly affects your wallet. See, Medicare is confusing by design, unless, of course, you're one of those fraudsters. Now, you've seen the mailers, the robocalls, all the fine print, the commercials. See, it's all built to keep you overwhelmed, so you pick a plan and never look at it again. And that's the Medicare confusion industrial complex, and seniors are paying for it without even realizing it. Chapter is simple by design, just one call, one advisor. They look at your doctors, your prescriptions, and your needs to help you compare plans clearly. And check this out, some seniors, they could save as much as $1,100 a year. If you want real help cutting through the nonsense, call Chapter at 910-728-4109 and get advice that actually puts you first. Now back to the Ohio crackdown, because what they announced next is where the story goes from big to historic. See, the arrests, they're the headline, but they're not the real bombshell. The real bombshell is what came after them. Dr. Oz and CMS announced 49 Ohio healthcare home providers are being suspended as high risk to Medicaid. Ohio also moved towards a 6-month moratorium on new home health care services and hospices. Then came the phrase that everybody should be focusing on: a state-specific Medicaid fraud war room. See, that's not a press conference gimmick. That is infrastructure. That's a system being redesigned in real time, and it sets up exactly what you're about to see in these receipts. FBI rapid response. Director Kash Patel. Check this out.
Operation Playground Therapy is what the FBI is here to talk about today. As the Attorney General highlighted, literally tens of millions of dollars that was supposed to go to kids was stolen, allegedly, by individuals who worked in government and the private sector and thought they could fleece Americans and our treasure, our children, of the hard-earned dollars, the taxpayer dollars that we provide to support them in their time of need. Well, they got caught. And not only did they get caught, so many others got caught. Just take a look at some of the vehicles that are here as part of their ill-gotten gains and proceeds. They didn't just take the money, they paraded it around the country. And thanks to this team here, you are seeing what hard work, dedication to the rule of law, and true unified effort across all fronts when no one wants the credit and everyone wants to just do the work. These are the results that we're here to talk about today.
Results. And that is exactly what this administration is giving America. He laid it out. The money meant for kids was looted. People flashing the cash got caught. Now acting Attorney General Todd Blanche puts the numbers on it. 14 defendants, more than $50 million in fraud charges out of Ohio.
In total, between our state and federal partners, today we're announcing charges that were either unsealed today or over the past week against 14 defendants allegedly involved in fraud schemes targeting over $50 million here in Ohio. And again, these numbers are staggering, but just the tip of the iceberg, both here in Ohio and nationwide. Sadly, Ohio is facing some of the most significant fraud schemes in the country. Medicare fraud, pandemic relief fraud, even an international romance fraud scheme that I think you'll hear about shortly. And to meet this challenge, to meet this crisis, our response has been and will continue to be aggressive, comprehensive, and we will not stop until we fix this problem.
So Blanche says the Ohio bust is only the tip of the iceberg, with fraud schemes hitting taxpayers from every angle. Next, Ohio's Attorney General says one thing changed the game: real backup from President Trump, not the usual swamp indifference.
I've been engaged in this fight since I was the elected Auditor of State back in 2011. Through my 8 years as Auditor of State and almost 8 years now as Attorney General, I have been doing Medicaid investigations, prosecutions. I have never had the level of interest and support from the federal government under any administration that you're witnessing here today. It's been a sometimes lonely fight against fraud, but it's no longer a lonely fight. And what's the difference? President Trump, Vice President Vance, and this team that you see arrayed here today, these senior federal officials who could be anywhere else, who have serious duties, are saying, this is the most important thing. I'm going to be here. We're putting everything on the field. I'm grateful for your commitment, and I look forward to the continued partnership as we work together for the people of this state.
So the Ohio AG making the contrast clear. After years of a lonely fight, Trump stepped in, and now the cavalry has arrived. Dr. Oz gets into the crackdown, including 49 high-risk home health providers suspended and a new Medicaid fraud war room.
So today we have three major announcements from the healthcare part of this fraud endeavor. The first is that the state of Ohio, and I want to applaud the Medicaid office here, they will be announcing at 1 o'clock, and please pay attention to that important announcement, that they are suspending 49 home healthcare providers who have been identified as high risk to the Medicaid program. These people have billed millions of dollars to take advantage of our most vulnerable, and if you're willing to steal from folks who are down and having a difficult time, you'll not just steal their money, you'll steal their health, you'll steal their lives. And we're seeing that. No more champagne on private jets for these people, no more new cars, no more luxury endeavors and vacations. It's done. We're coming after you wherever you are. And as Attorney General Blanche highlighted, we are earnest and serious in this endeavor. We will not be daunted. Ohio Governor DeWine also sought a 6-month moratorium for all new home health care and hospice in the state of Ohio. We granted that within a day. And we hope that will help at least slow the bleeding, using a surgical metaphor, so we can get a bandage on the wound, maybe put a couple stitches in, and take out some of the folks who have been stabbing the patient of Medicaid. Second big announcement: in order to solidify collaboration, CMS, Medicare, Medicaid, and Ohio are going to launch a state-specific Medicaid fraud room. It's going to copy the Medicaid fraud room created at the federal level by the task force. The findings surfaced through this state partnership, we believe, will free us to be able to directly collaborate at a national level, getting all states to understand what the problems are within their areas and accelerating our ability to take out high-risk providers. We'll identify them and we'll enforce actions around them. The applied behavioral analysis process, it's called ABA therapy for autism, has been scandalously abused. This is, again, taking advantage of children with autism, or getting their parents to lie about whether the child has autism, or weakening the system so the kids who actually need the services can't get them anymore. There are 9 providers that were paid more than $1 million to do this last year, these ABA services. We're going to go after them. We're going to deny some of the issues. In fact, 2 of these people were denied access to Medicare already. They should never have been in the Medicaid program. The top provider earned over $3 million. That's twice the closest competitor. And remember, the average provider of autism services gets paid around $200,000. So to have someone pay over $3 million is shocking. And the war room that's created with Ohio will be opening investigations on 2 home health care providers. And this war room is going to yield huge benefits. And finally, we want to speak a little bit about the fact that we have the need to audit states all over the country to help states understand where they are in comparison to all the other states. We don't have a national effort that allows states to at least get a best practices idea from surrounding areas. So we have now, and I can announce today, asked the state of Indiana to work with Oracle Health to provide that exact set of information. So all the states now will be armed with information, for example, on high-risk providers. And the ABA therapy autism, as I mentioned before, we've asked all 50 states to revalidate these providers and other high-risk categories. Every single state has agreed. By this Friday, they're obliged to provide us with a specific plan. But if you're involved in some high-risk endeavor, these are endeavors that are unlicensed individuals, often in unsupervised settings, we want the states to go back and check who you are. We're not paying fraudsters for dishonest endeavors that hurt the American people.
So Dr. Oz outlining the cleanup, suspensions, a moratorium, and a fraud war room. The feds showing the receipts, the Justice Department rolling out the seizures, the charges, and brand new FBI most wanted fraudsters. Today we're announcing unprecedented federal-state cooperation in Ohio, fight against fraud, including partnership and data sharing agreement to enhance the detention and prosecution of fraud. Federal and state charge against 9 defendants for alleged participation of $42 million in fraud. Orders of detention this week for 3 defendants, with 2 additional defendants pending extradition in connection with additional $15 million. The creation of the FBI's most wanted fraudsters list. By holding these fraudsters accountable and partnering with the FBI in a robust most wanted fraudster list, we're pursuing fraud more aggressively than ever. No fraud scheme is beyond our reach. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. So, look at that. Southern District of Ohio Fraud Task Force. $470,000 and 14 luxury cars seized. So it looks like we got a McLaren, we got a couple of nice Mercedes. So what is the car of choice here for these fraudsters? What is that? Is that the Ford Bronco? No, that's the Hummer. Oh, look, we got a nice, it looks like a Bentley. Is that the Bentley? Oh, the Bentley SUV. How nice. Oh, and this is, what is that, the Jaguar? You got a Land Rover. Oh, look at that nice Mercedes convertible. What do we got here? Oh, it looks like a Maserati Levante. Oh, but, oh, they didn't spring for the Modena or the Trofeo version? Come on, guys. Come on. You're fraudsters. Go with the higher trim. Not sure exactly what that is. Is it a Mercedes? Maybe it's a Mercedes. Oh, a nice BMW. Another Mercedes. The McLaren, nah. You know, I don't know. McLaren's never did it for me. You know, I'm more of a Ferrari or a Lamborghini guy. I just never got into the McLaren. I just always felt they were trying too hard. And yes, another Mercedes. And looks like, is that Is that a BMW or is that a Maybach? Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, I do love my cars. And looks like the fraudsters do too. But just want to point out too that the Attorney General Todd Blanche, no longer just the acting Attorney General, he has now officially been nominated by President Trump to fill the shoes of Pam Bondi officially. And I mean, we could already see the difference between Pam Bondi and Blanche. I mean, the action that we have seen, the arrests, the investigations, everything since Blanche has been put into that position, just action after action after action. So lots of good stuff happening from the Attorney General's office under Todd Blanche. So I'm proud to see President Trump sees the results, and he is going to make them permanent. So let's just talk about this. See, this is phase 3. First came prosecutions, then came audits. And now the Trump administration is building permanent anti-fraud architecture. Federal state data sharing agreements, a Medicaid fraud war room in Ohio, high-risk provider tracking, provider moratoriums, a new FBI most wanted fraudsters list, detentions, extraditions, a coordinated task force enforcement. See, that tells you the administration is no longer just seeing fraud as a side issue for the bean counters. It sees fraud as organized theft against the American people and a direct threat to the integrity of government programs. Ohio is starting to look like the pilot program, and if this model works there, do not be surprised when it spreads all across the country, because we do know that there is a 50-state task force currently looking into every single state. Yes, it's not just Ohio. Minnesota, California, Illinois, they're all on the list. Michigan. So it is spreading across the country. See, that's the real victory. Not just punishing yesterday's criminals, but making tomorrow's fraud much harder to pull off. And look, let's be honest about what we're watching here. This is what America First government looks like. President Trump, he promised accountability, and now his administration is delivering it with force. While the previous administration let waste, loopholes, and corruption metastasize, the Trump team is putting the fraudsters on notice. Steal from taxpayers, steal from Medicaid, steal from vulnerable Americans, steal from children, and you'll be hunted, exposed, charged, and stripped of the luxury toys that you bought with stolen money. No, that's not cruelty. That is justice. That is government finally choosing the innocent over the corrupt. So the big question now, it's rather simple. Should the Ohio model go nationwide immediately? Yes or no? I want your answer in the comments, and if you want more reporting the corporate media will never give you straight, share this video, subscribe, and turn on your notifications, because the story is not ending in Ohio. It may just be the blueprint for one of the defining domestic wins of the Trump administration. And if you want some real wins, then text the words raw feed to the number on the screen, 844-840-4963. That's how we win against the algorithmic suppression. Oh, you know it's happening. I know it's happening. I read the comments. You guys are like, hey, I never got a notification. What happened? Gary, wow, I'm surprised you're here. What? You never show up in my feed anymore. I hear you. I see you. And that is why I set this number up just for you. I want to make sure we stay connected. And that's exactly why you have to text the words raw feed to 844-840-4963. And that's why I also want you to celebrate America 250 with me. With so much winning going on, let's celebrate. Check out the Next News merch shelf right below this video. Or check that link, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Find something you like, and let's celebrate all these wins together.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.